But you are walking out to a very cold environment, as we do have some gusty winds already farther over to the west, which are looking to expand over to the east throughout today. Satellite and radar is all quiet, but we can see some cloud cover creeping in from north to south. And as we go up into northern Georgia, you can see some snow showers up near Dahlonega, Gainesville, west of Atlanta, the northwestern corner of the state. All of that will eventually make its way down here into central Georgia as we go throughout the next couple of hours. So throughout today, very cold and windy, and snow going to be possible, especially over to the east and northeast in central Georgia until we get later on into the nighttime hours. 33 degrees for a high temperature, and obviously well below average, and right there among that freezing temperature mark. And it's very likely that we've already hit that high temperature for today. So your weather impact alert going to be for those snow showers throughout this afternoon into the evening. Then going into your Sunday morning, it will be for an extreme cold warning. Feels like temperatures that could flirt with 0 degrees, and then we try to warm up as we go throughout the beginning of the next work week.
Good Saturday morning. I'm Carmen Brown.
And I'm Connor Hendricks. Thanks for starting your Saturday off with us as snow begins to make its way into central Georgia. Let's go ahead and turn things over to our meteorologists Ansley Parker and Alex Pry with the latest.
Well, a good morning to you, Connor and Carmen. Right now, we are going to start off with taking a walk around the quad, where it's a pretty quiet and an uneventful start to your Saturday morning. But obviously, you do know if you've made a step outside already, it is downright chilly once again. Downtown Dublin holding on to some cloud cover. Elsewhere here in central Georgia, it does look like we're walking out to an abundance of sunshine early this Saturday morning. Taking a current look at your temperatures, scattered about the mid-30s, maybe even going down into the upper 20s. That will be a theme you see with this graphic throughout today. These numbers have very likely already hit their high temperature for today, and they are going to get much colder as we go into the afternoon and evening. Winds and wind gusts, we can start to see some areas of yellow building in, some gusts up to 20 miles per hour. So your feels like temperatures scattered about the 20s, and like I mentioned, those are going to dip down as we go throughout today. Satellite and radar is all quiet, but we can begin to get an image of some steady snow showers up in northern Georgia. For more on what we're expecting for later today, meteorologist Ansley Parker joins me for this full team effort throughout your Saturday.
That's right. Well, we are in some winter weather alerts across not only portions of Georgia, but the entire Carolinas and other states as well. So this is a large scale system that's moving into the southeast here and will be having impacts across not only central Georgia, but northern portions and eastern portions of the state as well. Here in central Georgia, we are split between a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory. The warning highlighting areas that could see some higher snowfall accumulations. The advisory highlighting areas that could have up to trace amounts to maybe an inch of snowfall at best. So this will be kind of our guideline for who's going to receive heavier areas of snowfall as we go throughout the rest of the day today. Not the only alert that we have, however, as we head into the rest of the day today and into the overnight hours and get ready to kick off Sunday, we are going to be in an extreme cold warning. So what this means is that we're going to have temperatures that are going to be already downright cold themselves, and then we're going to add in a very strong breeze throughout the rest of the day today, and that is going to have feels like numbers down in the single digits and near zero. So the rest of the day today is going to have some extremely cold temperatures, and that continues as we head into the rest of the weekend. Of course, snowfall is going to be our biggest question mark, but we also are going to have to pay attention to temperatures as we go throughout the rest of the day. So a lot to unpack as we go into the rest of this afternoon. Again, the warning versus the advisory is going to give us a really good idea of who's going to see some higher totals versus who maybe will see some lower totals. And even outside of that, we could still see a couple of flurries in other counties. So more with the future view and your full 7-day forecast with what you can expect after this whole event coming your way in just a few minutes. Carmen.
All right, Ansley, Alex, appreciate you both for helping us track this winter weather. Now, you all at home can track temperatures and weather right now on the 24/7 radar. All you have to do is scan this QR code that you see here on your screen. And then this is what we're here for. You know, we're staying with you on air and streaming and with the updates that you need in real time. So again, just download 13 WMAZ Plus to your TV and you can stay up to the moment with current conditions as winter weather moves into our area.
And this week, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp issued a state of emergency ahead of another round of weekend winter weather. In a news release, the governor says, quote, "While Mother Nature may not be giving us a break with these back-to-back storms, the good news is we don't take any days off when it comes to keeping Georgia communities prepared and safe." Starting at noon Friday, the governor also directed the Georgia Emergency Management Agency and Homeland Security to activate the State Operations Center.
With the bitter cold air staying around for a while, warming shelters are open if you need a meal and a place to stay. Some are even expanding their services.
When we know more is coming, we prepare for the more to make sure that we turn no one away. We want to make sure that they don't come over to Salvation Army if there's not a bed for Salvation Army, but that they're going to the right location where they can receive the services they need.
So if you think you may need a place to stay this weekend, over in Warner Robins, Haven Hope House is open from 6 at night through 8 in the morning. The director there says they'll let people stay until those temperatures get above freezing. Now in Macon, Brookdale Resource Center's Hello House takes 50 people each night, and the Salvation Army over on Broadway takes around 30 people. The Butts County Rec Department also has a warming shelter that opened at 7 this morning, and the Crisp County Department's warming shelter will stay open until Monday.
Now, of course, whenever there's a threat of freezing temperatures, we talk about protecting the 4 Ps. That's people, pets, plants, and pipes. Make sure you let those faucets drip to prevent your pipes from freezing or bursting. Also, open up those cabinets to allow that warm air to circulate around them. And don't forget outside as well. Make sure to remove and store hoses that are used outdoors. Now, as far as your outdoor plants go, you can wrap them in blankets or sheets to keep them warm during freezing temperatures.
And when it comes to your pets specifically, the cold weather can be deadly for them if they're left outdoors. So you just want to make sure you don't neglect them this weekend. Veterinarian Bernard Hodges says cats and dogs have a normal body temperature of over 100 degrees. Anything under that is a sign that they're too cold and need to be brought inside. Now he says, of course, keep a close eye on your pet while outside and make sure they don't eat any antifreeze or salt because those substances can be deadly. He says frostbite is also something to keep in mind.
We really worry about paws and hypothermia, no different than our fingers when they get cold. To protect against the irritants, you can put a little bit of pet balm or even petroleum jelly in between the paws, and that helps protect them. Booties work well as well.
Now, Hodges also says if you have any stray animals that you want to provide for, put out extra food because cold weather makes them burn more calories. Also, try putting out straw as it does not hold moisture like a blanket would.
Now, as the snow potential begins to make its way into central Georgia, we have reporters spread out across the area updating us on those conditions outside.
Yeah, and Ellie Milliken is out in Washington County this morning, and she's going to join us live. Ellie, good morning. What are you seeing out there?
Good morning, Carmen. Good morning, Connor. What I'm seeing right now, obviously, is no snow and no ice, but it is cold. I am wearing a jacket. I am wearing multiple layers, and I'm questioning why I'm not wearing my gloves right now. But I do want to show you, I'm going to step out of the frame right now. There is a county department, the road department here, and they said they're going to be here all afternoon. I talked to them yesterday where they were putting rocks down on bridges. So what they do is they use the type of 89 gravels. And what they do with the 89 gravels is they lay them on the bridge. They go one direction and then the other direction, so they get the right lane and the left lane. They say that's the way that they're able to break up the ice and snow. Now, another thing is I talked to Sheriff Joel Cochran, who tells me he does not want people on the roads. He's saying stay off the roads. It's dangerous. He's also saying if you have to be on the road and you get in an accident, it's going to take them slower than normal to come and get you. But like I said, it's not snowing here, but just make sure to stay off the roads and bundle up. Another thing to tell you, too, is the Chamber of Commerce in Washington County, they have free blankets and gloves and hats. So if you're in need of some of that, go down there and grab some stuff because, like I said, it's cold and I need to put my gloves on. Well, guys, we're going to be here for the next few hours, just keeping you up to date on what we know. Obviously, right behind us, there's only one truck, but they are bringing more trucks in the next 20 minutes. Live in Washington County, Ellie Milliken, 13 WMAZ. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks so much, Ellie. Great information there that she shared. Now, of course, we'll be sure to check back in with her as things continue to develop this morning.
Now, GDOT did brine the roads around the state ahead of the weekend winter weather potential, but again, you're urged to stay off those roads in affected areas to help keep GDOT and emergency crews safe and also keep yourself safe. If you do have to get out on the roads, though, AAA recommends that you drive slowly and make sure you're not following cars too closely. Also, remember, it takes longer to slow down on icy roads. If you do hit an icy patch, take your foot off the gas and keep your steering wheel steady. Avoid slamming the brakes or overcorrecting. Now, you can also keep your car stocked with emergency essentials. AAA recommends things like cell phone chargers, flashlights, some water, snacks, and extra gloves, as well as coats and blankets. Now, if you're seeing any snow in your area, once that starts to roll in, of course, we want to see it too. Send us your winter weather photos to 478-752-1309, that phone number right there on your screen. Then we'll share them during our coverage today right here on 13 WMAZ.
All right, well, shifting to some local news this morning, we do have an update for you on a shooting in Warner Robins that left a police officer seriously injured. Thursday, Officer Matthew Whitell responded to a domestic dispute call. Whitell was approaching a house on Rose Street when investigators said Rashawn Williams shot him multiple times. As other officers responded, they also found Jardis King had been shot. Both were taken to the hospital and are now recovering. In the latest update, Officer Whitell underwent surgery late Thursday afternoon and is in stable condition. It comes as a huge relief to a longtime friend who says police work isn't just a job for Whitell, it's his calling.
If you call him for anything, whatever it is, no matter the situation, he would drop it and be there. And that's why I think he took the job he did and as a police officer because he served the community.
And so far, we have not received an update on Jardis King's condition. As for the suspect, Rashawn Williams, he made his first court appearance by Zoom from the Houston County Jail. He's currently charged with aggravated assault and aggravated assault against a peace officer.
And this morning, the city of Fort Valley is without a police chief and a city administrator after a joint decision to fire them. Mayor Shekinah Reeves says Chief DJ Flores was fired for insubordination. Under his leadership, she says the city's facing potential lawsuits and audit problems. And Assistant Police Chief Michael Bostic has also been fired for insubordination, and another colonel resigned.
If we have an unethical police chief, what does that say for the rest of the body? How does that gain us respect within our community? You know, and we have a lot of waste and abuse coming out the police department when we talk about our finances.
Mayor Reeves says that now former city administrator Gary Lee initially resigned but then rescinded his resignation. That's when city council decided to fire him. The council plans to hold a special meeting to formally handle his separation and begin to look for new leadership.
All right, well, of course, big questions as we head into the rest of the day with that winter weather potential on the way to the area. Let's break down the latest from the National Weather Service and the Future View coming up here after the break.
13 WMAZ weather, sponsored by Bucky Holland Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
Well, continuing to track some snow showers just to the north of us in the state of Georgia early this morning, but it is all quiet on the central Georgia front as of right now. Here's a walk around the quad once again where you can't see anything falling in the way of snow showers. In fact, we don't even have the cloud cover associated with what could be some frozen precipitation as of right now. But what I want to go ahead and do is give you an image of what's going on to the north. So this first camera, this is going to be up in Lake Lanier, and take a look at that. Some steady flurry showers and seeing the accumulation on some of the islands there in the middle of the lake. We'll go up to Dahlonega, Georgia, where also they are continuing to see some steady showers as well. And yes, you can take a look at all that accumulation. It's sticking everywhere. It's sticking to the grass. It's sticking to the road because it is a very, very cold environment. And then one last camera, which is well to the north of us, and we aren't expecting totals near as much as this, but this is looking like quite a winter wonderland. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. This is Ripley's Aquarium down at the base of the mountain. Take a look at how much snow is piling up on some of these objects right here, and take a look at how covered some of the roads are up there in Tennessee. Now you will see some folks venturing out and about and driving on some of those roads. However, they're pretty accustomed to getting some big snowfall events up there. That is not something that you should be doing here on some of the slick roads we are expecting here in central Georgia later on today. So our current temperatures are scattered about the upper 20s and the low 30s, even holding on to some mid and upper 30s farther over to the south and the southeast. But you can get a glimpse of that colder air pushing down from northwest down into central Georgia, 28 and then 27 all the way up in Rome and in Atlanta. Those temperatures will eventually become pretty much to normal throughout central Georgia this afternoon. And there are breezier conditions farther over to the west and the southwest. It's kind of a backwards trend. You are expecting some gustier winds in those areas to the west and the southwest as opposed to the northeast, where we are expecting some higher accumulation of some snowfall totals. But the winds are making things feel a whole lot colder that you can see across your feels like temperature map. And we'll go ahead and get a glimpse of what's going on. The actual radar having trouble picking up on some of those flurry showers as of right now, but starting to come into better focus. There are a good amount of some light, maybe even some steady snowfall showers that are falling up in northern Georgia, and a whole lot more where that came from back into eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, even getting into upstate South Carolina. But taking a look at our timing of the snow, I know many of you are probably waking up and saying, I don't see anything but sunshine right now, Alex. Well, the snow chances are trending a little bit later. So I'm thinking really closer to around 9 to 10 a.m. Some of those snow showers will begin to creep into our northernmost counties. Then as we get closer to lunchtime, it will be a bit more widespread. And this latest model run of FutureView not necessarily picking up on the coverage that we have seen as of recently, but it does pick apart that some areas to the east and northeast will hold on to the snow shower chances as we get into the evening. Now, as far as how much snow we are expecting in certain areas of central Georgia, we have meteorologist Ansley Parker joining us now for more information on that.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of showed it there. The coverage looks a lot better out towards the eastern counties, which goes right along with the messaging that the National Weather Service has given us in terms of winter weather alerts. So what you're looking at right now is the current alerts that we have across our area. The areas in pink are in the winter storm warning. The areas in purple are in the winter weather advisory. So the difference between these two categories, the warning areas, those are the spots that are expected to actually accumulate some snowfall. We're talking amounts that get between an inch to maybe 3 inches over in these counties. Now, the areas in purple are a little bit of a step down. The snowfall that's expected in these areas could accumulate, but we're talking about in the heaviest amounts getting up to around an inch. Most counties that are in the purple here are likely looking at more of trace amounts to potential flurries. This kind of shows the same thing, just in different wording here. We're talking about, again, higher amounts and accumulation over in those north and eastern counties, trace amounts to up to an inch in the counties that are outlined in the winter weather advisory. And unfortunately for our counties like Macon, Taylor, Dooley, Crisp, and Wilcox, we're talking about maybe a few flurries, but likely they are not looking at much of anything. Now, snowfall today is not the only thing that we have to pay attention to. Alex showed you we have some cool numbers out there right now, and we're going to continue to have cool numbers for the rest of today, into the overnight hours tonight, and through Sunday afternoon as well. We are in an extreme cold warning for the entire area. It extends from late tonight into tomorrow afternoon. So what this means is the temperatures themselves are going to be cold, but we are going to have some really strong winds that are going to make those temperatures feel even colder. I'm talking wind gusts today that get up to an excess of maybe 35 miles an hour at times. Take a look at as we head into Saturday afternoon. once the system kind of rolls into our area, we'll see the winds pick up. They'll be strong throughout the entire afternoon today and then still strong as we head into early Sunday morning. So yes, they will die down a bit, but we still have wind gusts on Sunday morning up to 22 miles an hour, and that is going to have a big impact on how things feel. So through the rest of the day today, we'll be feeling like we're somewhere in the 20s and teens. And then as we head into the overnight hours and early morning hours for Sunday, take a look at those feels like numbers. They are going to be down in the single digits, close to 0 degrees in some of the coldest spots, and it is just going to be downright cold. So if you have plans to be outdoors on Sunday morning, be aware. You are going to want to make sure that you are properly bundled up. It is going to be frigid as we start Sunday off. And then even as we head into Sunday afternoon, our actual temperatures will climb above freezing, but the feels like numbers are still going to be down below freezing. So we are staying nice and frigid all the way through the entire day on Sunday. Luckily, as we head into the upcoming work week, temperatures will steadily improve. It'll be a cold start to Monday morning, but then things will gradually get better through the rest of the work week. So we'll continue talking about that winter weather chance coming up here in just a few. For now, back to you guys.
Ansley, Alex, thank you for all the work that you're doing, keeping everybody informed. Now, of course, we know that Central Georgia has been dealing with winter weather for 3 weekends in a row now, and our team has been here nonstop to keep you informed. As potential snow begins to make its way into Central Georgia, we have reporters spread out across the area. One of those is Naomi Washington.
Yeah, she's out in Baldwin County this morning and joins us now live. Naomi, what are you seeing? Good morning.
Connor, Carmen, I can definitely tell you that it's cold here in downtown Milledgeville, but so far I cannot report that I've seen a single flurry out here. Now, less than an hour ago, I talked to Baldwin County's EMA director, and he told me that since 3:30 this morning, the Public Works Department has been out putting brine on the roads. That's the salt and gravel mixture that we've been telling you about. And I also got to catch up with a GDOT spokesperson, and he told me that they've also put brine on the state routes going through Baldwin County. But something to note about that, he said that they put the brine on the outer lanes only. So something to note if you get out later in the day once we get that winter weather. But as far as I can see, it's quiet out here in downtown Milledgeville, and maybe that's in anticipation of what's to come later today. I'm live in Milledgeville. Naomi Washington, 13 WMAZ News.
All right, thanks so much, Naomi. We'll be sure to check back in with her as things continue to develop this morning. For now, stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks so much for staying with us this morning as we've been talking about a lot of folks across the state bracing for this icy, wintry conditions this weekend.
Olivia Dunn is in Atlanta right now, and even on her day off, she's keeping us updated on storm prep of the road.
Here in Atlanta, we're seeing some folks start to get ready for some severe weather that might move in. Some salt trucks are moving through the street. There's salt on the sidewalks right now for the potential ice that might come through. And the Georgia Aquarium actually announced that they will be closing their doors tomorrow on Saturday in response to this winter weather that's supposed to come in. But as of right now, it feels like the calm before the storm.
First, we hope Olivia is having a great time in Atlanta.
Dedication.
Yeah. But before she went out to Atlanta, I hope she prepped her home.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, pipe bursts can cost hundreds, even thousands of dollars. But protecting your plumbing this winter, that's super cheap and easy. Molly Oak's going to break down the simple steps that can keep your pipes and your wallet safe during the freeze.
You can slide it up over and tie it around.
Pipes bursting, pricey. Protecting pipes, pretty cheap.
You want to think about in freezing weather how water leaves your home. Those are the most vulnerable pipes. So those are the ones you want to focus your effort and money on.
First tip, protect any outside spigots.
And you'll wrap the rag itself around there with the tape.
Basically, make a jacket for it. You can use stuff you already have at home.
So anything waterproof and warm.
Like a rag in a plastic bag.
And the reason being that if a rag gets wet and then freezes around your pipe, it sort of defeats the purpose of keeping it warm in the first place. You can turn the water off and that will help with freezing.
Next, know where your water shutoffs are.
Both for your whole house in case of pipe bursts or for your individual outdoor spigots.
Finally, open your cabinets.
Keep the doors open and allow the warm air that is in the house to circulate under the plumbing.
But if you don't want your cabinets open, keep your faucets dripping.
Still to come this morning, the cold spell isn't just affecting us and our pets, it also affects insects. After the break, how a cold winter impacts when we'll see those bugs out in the spring. Thanks for staying with us on this Saturday morning. Now, Carmen, we were just talking, the cold snap affects more than just us and our pets. It also plays a role with bugs and when they can become active from hibernation. And it's been really nice that we have not had like the mosquitoes and things around this time of year, but this does again impact their hibernation. So for things like ticks, they typically happen in March and mosquitoes can make an appearance as early as February.
Yeah, and the frigid temperatures like we're seeing, that can make the process harder for insects. So Brianna Weaver has more.
Leaf litters, twigs, bark scales, and vegetation. Those are just a few places insects retreat to before winter hits. While these insects know the great outdoors well, the cold can still make an impact.
If they're living up on, if their eggs laid up on twigs, they're exposed to the air temperature and that can be pretty hard on them.
An insect won't really be affected if it goes through the diapause process in a leaf litter under the snow. That's an insect's version of hibernation. In this process, an insect's metabolism is slowed down by the temperature to lead them to full winter dormancy.
For an insect in the leaf litter at the soil surface, the temperature there might be, at this point, maybe minus 20 or so, and the insects can survive that just fine.
The timeline for insects that overwinter under bark and vegetation to become active may be pushed back if these temps continue. Overwintering is the process insects take to survive in the winter. A colder winter may seem like it would have more of a negative impact on insects, but it's actually a milder winter that can cause more problems.
You can actually get frost go deeper into the ground, and you can get colder winter temperatures. So a warm winter might actually be harder on insects overwintering in the soil than a cold winter.
Insects become active based on air temperature. Whitaker's combed through a study that shows how warm the ground can be for insects in comparison to the air temp.
Even when the air temperatures dropped to minus 25, those soil temperatures were staying at like 18 to 20 degrees.
Whitaker adds people may think this cold streak will kill off many of the insects before they become active, but that's typically not what happens.
All right, well, as we look at the satellite radar across the southeast, snow is beginning to fall in portions towards our north and towards our east. As we head into the rest of the morning, starting to see some flurries here in our area. We'll break down the latest for you coming up next.
Good Saturday morning. I'm Carmen Brown.
And I'm Connor Hendricks. Thanks so much for starting your Saturday with us. As snow is around the state here, about to make its way into our area, our weather impact alert continues with the latest information right now. Let's go ahead and turn things over to meteorologists Ansley Parker and Alex Pry.
Yes, exactly like Connor just said, we do have snow in northern portions of the state, but it is trending a little bit later than we were first anticipating as of early this morning. So right now, your 4 sky cameras here in central Georgia are all quiet. We do have some cloud cover over in Dublin, but that's not resulting in anything in the way of precipitation or wintry weather just yet. Temperature-wise, we are still right around freezing temperature, maybe just a bit below freezing temperature in a select few spots, but we can see some colder temperatures up to the north and the northwest, and that is the direction the winds are beginning to flow in from. So our temperatures are going to drop as we go throughout the day, and winds are just going to get gustier and gustier. Right now, they are gustier over to the west and down to the south here in central Georgia, so your feels like temperatures are a little bit warmer over in east central Georgia compared to over to the west. Satellite and radar just shows that cloud cover creeping in, but soon some snow showers are going to follow that cloud cover. Here's a better picture of the widespread flurries and maybe even some steady snow showers we see in northeastern Georgia, northwestern Georgia, and that looks to creep into northern central Georgia here within the next hour or so. So that's where things currently stand, but what are we expecting throughout the rest of today? It's a team effort here in the weather department, so meteorologist has more on what to expect later today this afternoon. What do you have for us, Ansley?
Yeah, we have our guidance from the National National Weather Service as we go into the rest of the day as well. And this is what we'll be paying attention to because it gives us a good indication of areas that we need to watch as we go into this afternoon and this evening. So what you're looking at right now is the large-scale alerts across the area. Notice the higher impacts are definitely going to be over in the Carolinas, but we still expect to see some impacts here in the eastern portions of the state, and that does include portions of central Georgia as well. So we are split between a winter storm warning and a winter weather advisory. The winter storm warning is areas where we're expecting actual accumulation from the snowfall, and the winter storm advisory, we could see light accumulation, but these areas are looking more at trace amounts. And it's not the only alert that we have in our area heading into the rest of the day today. We also have an extreme cold warning. You just saw the feels like numbers and the wind gusts from Alex. We are going to have really strong winds through the rest of the day today and into the overnight hours as well as through Sunday. That means that the wind chills are going to be down in the single digits and near 0 degrees as we head into the late night hours tonight. That is extreme cold, definitely the coldest air that we've seen so far this season. So the National Weather Service is giving us a heads up that this air is going to be extremely cold, not only through the rest of the day, but also as you wake up and get ready to kick off your day on Sunday. So more details to come on this extreme cold and a look at the future view for the snow coming up here in just a few. Back to you guys.
Alrighty, thank you, Ansley and Alex. Now, of course, as that snow begins to make its way into our area in our northern counties around the next hour or so, and then more towards lunchtime for the rest of us, we have reporters out across central Georgia updating us on the conditions outside.
Yeah, we're going to head out to Madison Ricks, who is live in Washington County with the road department this morning. Madison, what updates do you have for us? Good morning.
Hi, Carmen and Connor. Yes, I'm also here at the hospital here in Washington County. And like Ellie said, we don't really see any snow right now. And honestly, I don't know when that snow will hit, but that isn't really stopping the city from preparing if we get that snow. And I'm actually here with Robert Holmes. He's the Public Works Director, and they have been preparing for a couple of days now for that snow. So, Robert, can you tell me, what do you guys typically do when you're going to get that snow?
We typically put rocks on the bridges to make sure that the snow crush up so that it don't be on the bridges so it can run off properly. We normally clip shoulders, make sure once the snow is stopped that the water run off properly off the roads. And we also go by and do low-hanging limbs to make sure that the debris don't fall in the road.
And so you were talking to me a little bit earlier, and so you guys, like you said, you use gravel instead of salt. So kind of like tell me why that's kind of like a better method here.
Well, we normally we started using gravel a couple of years ago. It works well for us. It seems to, once the snow turns to ice, the gravels kind of crush it up to make it somewhere of a Brillo pad that it makes the ice get off the road and off the bridges a lot better.
All right, well, thank you so much. But yes, guys, they are here today, and there's some trucks back here. There were some earlier, and they're actually kind of filling the holes here at the hospital. But we'll continue to keep you updated on any snowy weather here we'll see here in Washington County. But I'll send it back to the studio. Reporting in Sandersville, Madison Ricks, 13 WMZ News.
All right, Madison, thanks so much for that update. I think it kind of offers a peace of mind to the people there when they know that the county is preparing for the winter weather.
Now, as Madison mentioned, that prep work certainly didn't start today in Washington County. Ellie Milliken went out to the county yesterday to see that hard work firsthand.
The sound of thousands of rocks dropping. That's what the Washington County Road Department is doing on local bridges. Lyric Pinkston has worked here for 3 years. At 22 years old, he's worked his way up from driver to supervisor. But on this day, he's back behind the wheel.
It secure the conditions of the road, and with the snow and potential ice, to make sure that it's not as slippery, and we don't want nobody falling over in the bridges.
These trucks use 89 gravels, and they go through both lanes to make sure there's enough rock to break up possible snow and ice.
These rocks are Robert Holmes' idea. He says they used to use salt, but then he realized how these rocks work to break up the ice.
When the cars frequently runs over the bridge, the 89s will crush the ice up.
Not only is the road department preparing, but Sheriff Joel Cochran says they've got chainsaws and will be there to assist anyone that needs help.
Our off-road vehicles are ready to be utilized should be needed. State and county road crews are working preparing bridges and highways.
But his biggest advice?
We're urging people to be prepared to stay off the roads at all possible for the next 2 days.
He says now they wait and talk to other EMA directors. In Washington County, Ellie Milliken, 13 WMAZ News.
Now, GDOT crews have also been working ahead of this winter storm. Those crews brined priority roads in central and east Georgia up until midnight last night. Then this morning, they're switching over to salt and plow operations once that snow begins. Officials say, again, you should avoid driving in the left lane since those are the least likely lane to be brined. And of course, be careful even on treated roads.
Now, if you do happen to see any snow or ice in your area, of course, we'd love to see it too. So you can send us your winter weather photos to this number on your screen right here. That's 478-752-1309. And of course, we'll share them during our coverage today here on 13 WMAZ. Well, as we prepare for week 3 of winter weather, I cannot believe it, Connor.
I know,
this is
just
insane.
one after the other. I'm over it.
Yeah. Well, some areas across the nation are still trying to recover from last weekend.
Now, right now, there's still more than 150,000 power outages. Those are mainly between Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So far, at least 64 people have died from last week's storm conditions as well and related accidents.
In areas up north, folks are still digging their way out of snow mounds as snow totals exceeded 2 feet in Pennsylvania, Maine, and Massachusetts.
And over in Ohio, water main breaks are causing some frustration for folks as well. You can see in this video here, those cars are literally frozen in place from a water leak that overflowed on the roads.
No, yeah, they were literally, like I'm looking at it. This is
right,
insane.
You can see the wheels
yeah, the lingering ice is also causing some structural damage. In Arkansas, the roof of a rodeo arena fell through because of the ice's weight. It was a similar scene at a church in Texas where the sanctuary is now filled with metal scraps and crushed equipment.
I thank God that there's, a local pastor that's reached out for at least this Sunday to say, hey, I'm opening my doors for you to be able to have a place to gather this coming Sunday. And then we're still in the midst of making the plans of what the future looks like.
Parts of North Carolina could receive several inches of snow from this storm. And with the frigid temps, a lot of snow and ice there will certainly remain until those crews can plow it up. Now, nationwide, in some national news, shifting gears here, protests over immigration enforcement are now reaching local schools. Georgia students at Mill Creek High School walked out of class Thursday, and in this video you can see dozens of students chanting and holding signs during school hours. The debate over ICE also reaching the nation's capital. This morning, parts of the federal government, including the Defense Department, are shut down. After days of back and forth over funding, the Senate approved a spending bill. Georgia Senator John Ossoff voted in favor, while Senator Raphael Warnock voted against it. Still, the bill had mostly bipartisan support.
The yeas are 71, the nays are 29. The bill, as amended, has passed.
Now, the agreement actually passes 5 spending bills funding most agencies through September, but the bill left out the Department of Homeland Security. Instead, lawmakers agreed to fund the agency at normal levels for the next 2 weeks while they discussed reforms for ICE.
The American people are crying out for change. They see what's happening on our streets.
Hold the people accountable in ICE who may have broken the law, but stand up for those in the field trying to protect America.
Now, the deal still needs to be passed by the House, which isn't scheduled to return until Monday. The president would also need to sign that bill into law quickly. If the shutdown goes past Monday, it could cause travel problems at airports and the stoppage of paychecks for thousands of federal workers.
All right, well, we're starting to see some snowfall move into northern portions of the state early this morning. As we head into the rest of the day, what's in store here in central Georgia? We'll break down the latest Future View and talk more about the details coming up next.
13 WMAZ weather, sponsored by Bucky Holland Heating, Cooling, Plumbing.
All right, it's been the talk of your weather forecast for quite some time the last couple of days, but now we are kicking off our weather impact alert as we are anticipating some snow showers starting over the next couple of hours, and then those will continue all throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours in some spots. But right now, it's still been a quiet image. Plenty of sunshine to walk out the door to. Been a very pleasant start to your Saturday morning, so that is going to be good. Go ahead and get your plans in and make those errand runs earlier this morning before the snow does look to get going here over the next hour or two is what we're looking at as of right now. Temperature-wise, however, we do have more sunshine in the forecast, not necessarily correlating to a warm-up, as we can continue to see numbers scattered about the upper 20s and the low 30s, very similar to the numbers they have been reading all morning long. And we can also see the winds propelling some colder air up in northern Georgia down to the south and the southeast. Right now, our center of low pressure that is causing all of this is off in the Atlantic Ocean, but we are beginning to get that counterclockwise rotation. So that is going to pull some moisture down from areas to the north of us down into central Georgia throughout the rest of today. But right now the winds are very gusty, especially over to the west and the south here in central Georgia. But areas that are forecasting to actually have the highest accumulation of snow, they aren't seeing as much in the way of gusty winds just yet. So also your feels like temperature is going to be pretty true to what the actual numbers read over to the east and northeast, a little bit colder in areas over to the west with some gustier winds. Satellite and radar right now, we can see some cloud cover up to the north of us, but then we start to see some snow showers around Lawrenceville, Monroe, Georgia, creeping into Covington, and some back over to the west of the metro Atlanta area. There's a lot more where that came from up to the north. So that expected to creep down into northern central Georgia here over the next hour or so, I would say, which is pretty on line with what Future View has to say. But again, the risk for seeing maybe some higher accumulations is still going to be that northeastern corner of central Georgia. That's where you're going to see round after round of these purple and white shades all the way into the afternoon and into the evening hours before finally tapering off as we go into the nighttime hours. But we do hold on to the breezy conditions into tomorrow morning, which is going to be another factor with why we have your weather impact alert issued. But nice and sunny skies throughout the rest of tomorrow. And I did want to show you this graphic because this is talking about the window for the earliest onset of impacts, which means when is the earliest time that snow could begin to fall. Well, the window for northern central Georgia did start out at 6 a.m., but it looks like we're trending more so towards the back half of that window. Not to fret, things are still going according to plan, and your forecast does remain relatively the same. Areas of North Georgia did have an earlier onset of those potential impacts that we did see. In terms of how much, we are still expecting maybe about 1 inch to 3 inches in our northeasternmost counties, but more so some values that are going to be less than 1 inch farther over to the west and the southwest. So for more on that, this does correlate kind of perfectly with our winter weather advisory and our winter storm warning that we have issued. Ansley Parker now joins me to tell you the difference between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. The National Weather Service has done a great job of kind of giving us a distinction between the two. So I want to show you a bigger picture of what's going on out in the southeast. This is a very large scale system. So the main impacts are going to be over the Carolinas. That's why they are all under a winter storm warning. But of course, that low pressure system does kind of graze the eastern portion of Georgia, which is why here in central Georgia we are included in the winter storm warning, and then we drop down into a winter weather advisory. So the difference between the two things that you're looking at right here, the counties that are outlined in the winter storm warning, the counties here in pink, that is where we're expecting snowfall to fall and actually accumulate to something. So it could be anywhere between 1 inch to maybe 3 inches in the heaviest spots, like you just saw Alex show on the projected totals. It could really be lighter amounts, but this is where we're expecting things to accumulate up to a certain amount. Now, over in this winter weather advisory, these are the counties that are outlined here in purple. We could still see some snowfall, but the totals not forecasted to be quite as high. We could see up to at most 1 inch over in these counties, which means we're probably looking at more trace amounts over in these areas. So you may notice a little bit of a light dusting or flurries at times in these counties, but again, the overall impacts in terms of accumulation is going to be further out into our northern and eastern counties. And the counties that are not outlined in anything, you may see a flake or two, but overall it will amount to barely anything. Now, this is not the only alert that we're under for the rest of today. As we head into this evening and then really throughout the day on Sunday, we are going to be in an extreme cold warning for the entire area. So why does this matter? Well, the temperatures, of course, throughout the rest of today are going to be cold, but we're starting to have that breeze kick in certain portions of our area, and that already has the wind chills down. it is only going to continue to do that as we head into the rest of today and into tonight. We're talking wind gusts in excess of 35 miles an hour at times through the rest of today. So that will have today obviously feeling very cold as that snow is falling, the wind is blowing. It's just going to feel really, really cold this afternoon. But even as we head overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning, we still carry on wind gusts that could get up to around 25 miles an hour. So a little bit lower than what you'll see this afternoon, but still holding on to a good 25-mile-an-hour breeze heading into the rest of the day on Sunday. So because of that, the feels like numbers today are in the teens, which not great, but we've been there before. But as we head into the late night hours tonight and overnight to get ready to kick off early Sunday morning, feels like numbers are going to be down in the single digits in the coldest spots. We're talking near 0 degrees. So as you wake up early tomorrow morning and get ready to start your Sunday, this is going to have a huge impact on how you get ready to start your day. You definitely want to bundle up. There will be no dramatic amount of bundling up as you head out to feels like numbers again in the single digits. We'll keep talking about that snow chance and more on what you can expect for the rest of the weekend coming up after this break.
Thanks so much for staying with us this morning. But first, a plea from the American Red Cross. The winter storm we just went through has drained the blood supply that is across the southeast, leaving those shelves empty.
Yeah, you're right. And Nicole Nielsen reports from a hospital in North Texas where officials are urging the community to step up and help.
So visually, this is what 4 days of all mobile blood drives and donor centers being shut down looks like. All of these shelves should be filled with blood, but you can see they're nearly empty.
When we had to close Monday and then we had to close Tuesday, we're like, oh no.
The ice and snow have put Carter Blood Care now in critical need, facing a shortage of more than 6,400 donations across North, Central, and East Texas, which puts over 18,000 Texas lives at stake.
And you can hear the phone ringing right now. That's hospitals calling saying that they need blood.
The decision to close centers during the storm was for safety of both the employees and donors, but after 4 days, it came at a cost.
If we're asking people to travel on ice and dangerous roads, that could end up costing us blood in the end.
Carter Blood Care is a local organization providing 95% of the blood for hospitals in Dallas-Fort Worth. Right now, they say the supply is so low, there's less than a one-day supply of blood at local hospitals.
This directly impacts Texas and Texas only. If you donate with Carter Blood Care, donate locally, it will help your neighbors directly.
The urgent need is highest for O-negative blood, the universal blood type, and platelets, which can be separated from blood or donated directly. Even more, platelets must be used within 4 days, which makes the shortage even more urgent.
This is all we have for all of the hospitals in our service area.
They're now offering incentives, doing everything they can to get folks through the doors, like gift cards.
It's sort of desperation, right? Like, we're just like, we'll give you whatever you need. Just please come help us. We need blood.
Officials say they're now racing to make up for lost time and stress that every single donation makes a difference.
Your one donation can save 3 people's lives. It's huge.
Now, the shortage isn't just affecting hospitals in Texas. The American Red Cross reports that since January 23rd, over 500 blood drives have been canceled in nearly every state where they collect blood, including here in Georgia.
That's led to over 20,000 blood and platelet donations that have gone uncollected. If you're interested in donating, you can find an American Red Cross donation near you or on redcross.org. Stay with us. We'll have another look at your forecast when we return.
Well, taking one last look at your satellite and radar imagery, where we see some widespread clusters of some snow showers just to the north of us, and some of these shades may be beginning to creep into areas like Jasper County as of right now. So yes, the snow is a little bit behind schedule, and I promise you it's on its way, so just be patient. Here's a look at Lake Lanier. Take a look at how heavy this snowfall is right now on the Lanier Islands. So this is what's going to begin to move into northeast central Georgia over the next couple of hours. Just be a little bit patient. I promise you things are still running according to plan. They are just running a little bit behind schedule as of right now. Going to pop it up to your 7-day forecast real quick before we take you out. Doesn't look like we'll have enough time for it. Maybe if it pops up for me right here. Weather impact alert for very cold weather into Sunday morning. We'll be back at the top of the 9 a.m. hour on 13 WMAZ for more coverage.